the question is then, Gary, your question for me sounds like if I delivered this at my sergeant's board,
Yeah,
would I be getting awesome marks?
yeah,
I'm going to be blunt. Do you want the bad news? You,
yeah,
you're better off getting the bad news here.
yeah,
All right. Um, Sounds like exactly what you just said. We exceeded the expectations. We did a good job.
yeah.
That's what it sounds like. Let me ask you a few questions. Um, was it difficult or challenging?
No, no, well, not particularly. No, just thinking through some of the ways we were going to use the pace, for want of a better term, to get them, but no, not really.
So it wasn't difficult or challenging. Did that incident, did your behaviours in that incident demonstrate sergeanty type behaviours?
Probably not. No.
No. All right. Um, he felt as though you exceeded his expectations. It sounds like he had very low expectations of the police service of Northern Ireland to start with.
Yeah,
So what you actually did was business owner, someone stole some wine off me. They've stole wine off me before. I think he's over there. You went and arrested the offender. Job done.
yeah.
When
I
I
mean,
say it like that, what impact is it having on you?
yeah, yeah. I know when you put it like that from somebody who wasn't there. Yeah, I can see the point you're making. Yeah,
Yeah, so there's a couple of things. One, it wasn't very difficult or challenging. So I'd be like, all right, okay. And then is it showing any skills or behaviors or values I'd expect from an outstanding sergeant or even potential sergeant? Not really. Is it the sort of thing that a student officer could deal with when they're on independent patrol, and they've just got a couple of weeks of independent patrol under their belt?
yeah. Probably can. Well, they probably could
Yeah.
with a bit of guidance. Yeah,
So I would be underwhelmed by that if I was on your board. And I know in your board you've got to get it. You've got your game's got to be up there
yeah,
because it's so competitive. And I'm right in saying, aren't I? If you don't pass, then you've got to do your exam all over again.
yeah. I just had to sit it after 4 years. So yeah,
We've just actually had some sergeant to inspector results come through for our um, clients today, and so far they've all passed. Every one of them. Every one of
right,
them's passed.
very good.
So we're very pleased about that. And one of the things, I don't want you feeling bad, Gary, because one of the things I know that we've had to do is raise their game, getting them to focus on things that may not um, may not sort of be the sort of job that you'd necessarily think would allow them to shine at their board.
Mhm.
And what do I mean by that, Gary? Is that sometimes sometimes we shine a light on something, like you're shining a light on this one, like it's a challenging area. Normally they've got low expectations of the police, but this time we exceeded their expectations. You may be thinking, oh, that might tick the boxes there because it's sort of building up relationships in that community. Um, Where in fact, at a board level, they're just listening to that and just go, yeah, okay, well done. Yeah. So we've had to get them to refocus their ideas a little bit because sometimes what they want to hear on the board isn't necessarily what you want to tell them. You might be thinking, I want to tell them this, but actually they want to hear that instead. Anyway, we've had some successes. Actually, we've had a ton of successes for recruitment and for promotion. Today, all the success stories have just been rolling in. It's been great. It's been great. So it's back to a drawing board for that one, Gary. You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
is that making sense? I mean, I know it might be like, ah, God damn it.
No, I did. I mean, I like the example myself just simply because I felt it did. But yeah, I sort of thought I just wanted to hear somebody say it, and you pointed out the reasons why. So yeah, I can understand
Yeah,
why it didn't work.
yeah, and it's not you know, actually, do you know, with this one here, if it was followed up with the guy saying, "Do you know I've never had that level of service from the police before," and then I don't want to put words in your mouth, but this would be,
Mm.
I mean, we only say things on boards that have actually happened as well. That's a really important thing. We don't over egg the pudding. We don't exaggerate. It's got to be the truth because I was going to say we're all police officers. I used to be a police officer, but you know what I mean, don't you? But with this one here, if then it was followed up with a series of questions like, all right, so we've got the bad guy now, we've got the statement, and all the rest of it. Can I just ask you some questions? Because you said before that you didn't ever expect the police to do anything about something like this, and you're actually surprised that we actually turned up and gave a shit. What's behind that? And then if he told you something about, well, as business owners here, we've got very poor expectations of the police. If they actually turn up at all, we would just think it's amazing. But we're just one step away from forming our own little vigilante teams to stop people like him stealing from us. Or, we're going to employ outside security because you're also hopeless, quite frankly. And then if you'd taken that and just on the chin and just gone, all right, I hear you. I hear you, but is that does that feel to you like a good relationship with the police? Does that feel to you like we've got a good relationship with you? He was like, no, not at all. All right. Okay. So you go away, ponder it, come back and think, go and speak to some other shop owners. Or ask him actually, you know, who who else would you recommend I speak to who may have similar views? You're looking for bad news. You're not looking for complaints, but you're looking for, look, what's the reality of the relationship between this business community and the police in this area? And is it indicative of a wider problem in that community where it's not just business owners, but there's other members of the community who are just like, the police, they're the last people we'd ever go to. Um,
Yeah,
and, and then if you took all of that and started thinking, right, the relationship is non-existent or it's in tatters. What we either stick with that and accept that that's just the way it's always been, that's the way it'll always be, or as a potential sergeant, I'm going to take it upon myself as a leader within the PSNI. I'm going to take it upon myself to do something about it, and that that would carry you through at a board. If you then talked about setting up a working group within that community that involved the housing association, local council, environmental services, um, some of the business owners, and you just formed a working group to look at creating a better vision for that community
yeah,
based on the statistics, based on the stats, but also what the stats are telling you and what they're not telling you. So, having worked in some areas that are very challenging, not quite the same, not the same sort of challenges that you've got in PSNI, but um, where you do have, where I've had challenges in the past, they've had challenges where the relationship between the police has been non-existent, um, and it's just hard. It's really hard, but it's having setting up that working group and starting off with a right. Well, just because it's always been like that doesn't mean to say it's always got to be like that. What's our collective vision? Forming a collective vision for the future. Once you've got that vision for the future, what are the first steps we need to take in order to get there? And remember, it's not our vision, it's your vision. And so this is where some of you may have heard me talk in the past about having a more appreciative approach. So what is good in this community? That'd be my starting point, asking questions in that working group about, all right, so the relationship you think is poor with the police. You feel as though the relationship between public services and the community is poor. Share with me, what's good in this community? What's going on that's good? And identify the good things. And once you've got something that's good in the community, then you can build upon it. It's very hard to build a vision for the future on something that's broken. And it's just a working group that's just talking about problems all the time. Everything's effed. It's all screwed up. Well, what's going well in this community? I don't even know what the community is, and you don't need to name it. But I will throw something out there to say that I there are people in that business community who would love to see a more thriving community inside that in with the businesses. They'd like to see it thriving more. They'd like to see people feeling safe, to go to their shops and go to their businesses and feel safe doing so. And my guess in that community as well, um, I don't know it. You don't need to say which one it is, and please don't. But my guess is that there's some small community groups that exist, even if it's just, even if it's just at a community centre, a knit and natter group, or something that's there to encourage people who are unemployed to go out there and get jobs, or whatever the thing is. That there's something there already, isn't there, Gary? You don't have to say what they are. Please don't identify the community. But do those sort of little fledgling groups exist in that community?
Yes, those sort of things do exist. We do. The thing about it is where I work, we sort of this incident happened like quite a few years ago. That's the other thing, but they do um they have a thing called was it community partnerships. Um, Sort of it's a bit like a civilian throw off from the police authorities. They sort of created it as a whenever they changed the structure when they created the PSNI and changed it over, but it sort of works with councils and stuff. It's civilianized. I don't really understand why they even created it because, to be honest, it's not directly with the police. Neighborhood would actually, this is the problem. Neighborhood, but a lot of the stuff that you're describing would be our neighborhood would sort of deal with that there, and the examples are good. The problem is I've pretty much always done response stroke LPT.
All right, couple of something else just mentioned. It was too. The example was from too long ago. If you let
Yeah,
that slip in a board, there'd be like, oh right, have you got something more recent? And if you if I got the sense from you that I'm on response, that's a neighbourhood's job, then I'd be looking at you thinking you're not ready for the next rank yet. So, as a response officer, what can you do to work alongside the neighbourhood officers to help enable that community to be the best version of itself it can be? And that's what they're going to want to hear on your board.